Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today's Continuum TV series decode brings us through seasons 3 and 4. I got everything done except for the last 2 episodes of the last season. Now, before we get into the Continuum TV series, you just gotta laugh at these headlines. Today is September 13th, 2024, and as many of you remember, it used to be that the mainstream media liked to marginalize free thinkers like us, right? How do they do it? Well, they almost would never, ever cover or mention some of our core beliefs or theories unless it was in a very negative light. And they pretty much stayed away from most stuff. Remember, they used to like to cherry pick things that they were low-hanging fruit, like the flat earth. They love to do stuff like that. But even that, they would never, ever mention that, usually in a mainstream article or on a show or whatever. It was always in some of the fringe stories that they would cover. Well, apparently all that has changed now, as some people's theories about what happens and what's happening, what they tell us is happening, is now being covered by the mainstream. Now, believe it or not, this suggests that we're winning. Truth is winning, because the fact that they have to fact check some of this stuff tells you everything that you need to know. Now, this is crazy, you guys. I would never think that they would cover a story like this. People are not believing what they're seeing and hearing anymore, without at least an attempt to think for themselves. People are questioning the narrative now. They understand that things like this whole clown show of these candidates, of all the smart people in our country, they choose 2 clowns to run for the presidency, and people are waking up to this. Now, I understand that they selected these people on purpose, because it's basically a dumbed down version of America. It's basically the baseline of Americans. Notice there were no clear action plans by either candidate. No one could come up with a detailed plan. We came up with better detailed plans than the presidential candidates for the United States about how to move forward with the country and solve some of these problems. All we got were platitudes and basic statements. No detail whatsoever that would instill any confidence in any person to believe that anything was going to get solved. The whole debate played on people's emotions. It was a tit for tat with the same old tired topics: the climate, the border, all of the trigger issues that they already have people well divided on. There were no solutions. And the solutions that they did give were all triggering solutions. Like Kamala was like, oh, let's spend even more money on the climate, bragging about spending $1 trillion. Well, what is that going to do? That's going to trigger the right. And then Trump saying, oh, we'll get the National Guard and deport all the illegals tomorrow. That's going to trigger the left. It's all triggering. There's nothing in the middle that helps people to feel like there are reasonable solutions that are measured, and that's done on purpose to keep the 50-50 divide going. Good morning, everybody. What else are people waking up to? Well, they're waking up to NASA's antics. They can never show us a real picture. They can never put a beacon on the moon so that people could look up in a telescope and see something that proves that we were there. They keep sending up billionaires and Freemasons and astronauts who don't represent us to prove that we went up there, right? This is what they do. They're like, look, there's an astronaut. He sent back pictures of a curved Earth. See? That proves nothing until we can send up Bonnie or April or Charlie or Troy, and they personally report back to us what they're seeing. I don't believe these people. Because people sell out for money, don't they? NASA's antics. What else is helping people to wake up? Well, They look around, they see their loved ones dropping out all around them, dying off, perfectly healthy people, suddenly having heart attacks, and people are starting to put the puzzle pieces together. Now, why are they starting to report on these stories? For instance, this one about Kamala's earrings. Why are they suddenly addressing people's theories? This is crazy, you guys. You ever thought you'd see a USA Today headline, no evidence that there were transmitters in Kamala's earrings during the debate? Fact check. Did you ever in your life think that you would see a post like this or a story? Not me. So what's happening now? Well, the controllers are banking on the fact that the technocracy will be firmly in place to squash any dissent, to quickly, efficiently, and without too much noise, eliminate anyone who doesn't think as they should. This is why they're doing these stories. Kamala's earring transmitters. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily believe this, but the fact that some people do, and they're addressing this and trying to debunk it, is saying something, isn't it? Let's read some of this. Now, why are people assuming this? Well, because it's obvious. The debate rules said no notes, no teleprompters, no nothing. So we're supposed to believe that neither of the candidates were assisted in any way to help with the debate, right? But yet, we look at Kamala's past speeches and her past interviews. We look at edited interviews, you guys. Edited interviews of her where she couldn't even put together a stream of thought. Right? And people are like, she was way too polished. Now, if you're new to this channel, we don't believe in any, or I don't believe in any of these candidates. People are free to think what they want when they come to this channel. But I think we've done a pretty good job of showing that both of these people are the same person. They both work together to divide America completely and evenly. And I'm going to show you some evidence of that. How these candidates are basically secretly all friends. They might not be friends, but they know what their script is and their role. And so every once in a while, we catch them shaking hands and being nice to each other while we're all at each other's throats. Right? I mean, you would think that these people were on the borderline of fist fights with each other by the way that they present themselves in these debates and things, right? You would think that they would be on the verge of dirty looks and middle fingers at each other. But yet, when they get in the same room, they all shake hands. It's unbelievable. Now, what's going on here? Well, people are like, oh, she's way too polished. She didn't even stutter once. How's this possible? She addressed all of Trump's points without writing a single note. How is this possible? So, some people thought she was getting some coaching somehow, some way. The only logical explanation for how that might happen is either there was a teleprompter allowed somehow, some way, through some kind of technology, or she was being told and coached through her ears, maybe her earrings. So this is a logical belief, right? Based on the past and what we've seen. It would be different if she was always a polished speaker off the cuff up to this point. Then no one would believe this. But there's a reason why people believe this. And it has nothing to do with them loving Trump and hating her. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with critical thinking and the evidence we've seen to this point. So don't ever let anyone tell you that your theories are crazy, because you're just using common sense. You're like, wait, we went from these silly platitudes that she used to use to a polished speaker in 2 weeks. Wow. Now, what's going on here? Let's read this. Wait, let me check in with you guys first. I didn't give you guys a proper hello this morning. Other than putting you on a spacecraft to go report back to us to tell us all what's up there. Good morning. All right. So, what's going on here? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about proper etiquette. Proper etiquette is not to eat your neighbor's cat, right? All right. So, good morning, everybody. Oh boy. Well, let's get into this. I'll keep you guys waiting. It is Friday, though. We always have fun on Fridays. Fun Friday. Oh, no. We don't want to say Fun Friday. That's FF. That would be like 66 or something. So we can't call it Fun Friday. We have to call it, I don't know. You guys come up with something. Let's read this. September 10th Facebook post shows side-by-side photos. One of Vice President Kamala Harris' left earring during the presidential debate, and another of a pair of earrings that double as wireless communication devices. Nova audio earrings. She was being coached, now we know. Text in the image states, post was shared more than 1,000 times in a day. Similar version of the claim was posted tens of thousands of times on X. Our rating is that it's false. There's no credible evidence that Harris earrings contain audio transmitters, which would have broken rules that ban in-debate interactions with people off stage. Photos of the debate show her earrings do not match the Nova model referenced in the post. Of course, they're not going to match exactly. I mean, who would be that stupid? Oh yeah, let's go get these Nova. Let's go order some Nova transmitters off of Amazon and just put them in our ears for the debate. Of course, they're not going to match. They're going to camouflage them somehow, wouldn't they? So these people don't know. Did they investigate this? Did they have some kind of, transmitter detection device to ensure there wasn't some outside signal coming into the debate forum? I mean, you can't just fact check something by just saying it's false because there's no evidence. Well, it's because you haven't looked for the evidence. You haven't proven and ruled it out. Because the only way to rule this out would be to have some kind of detection device during the debate, or to, wand her earrings or wand the candidates to make sure there were no electronic devices on them. Did they do that? No. So how can they say this is a baseless claim? Again, I'm not saying I believe that this for sure is the case because I don't have any evidence to prove it either, right? But how can they say that they know for a fact that this is false? So this is crazy, you guys. Let's see if there's any pictures in here. This is silly. This is just, look at all the comments, 3.1 thousand comments. Gosh, it'd be funny to read through those. Look, they won't even show us the earrings because they know. They know, and we all know, don't we? Or may know. Let's see what this lady said. Let's see what this lady's talking about here. Wow. Fact check the fact checkers. One time I got in trouble, got a strike, because you're not allowed to say the fact checkers lied. That's not allowed in this reality now. Say that, you get a strike. See if we can refresh this. Unbelievable. Okay, we're not going to watch this. Let's move on. Here's another conspiracy story that they, the fact checkers claim, oh, there's no evidence to support this. Well, what's the evidence to not support it? Right? And again, this is another example of how we're probably starting to win. Because if they even have to do a story on this, that proves that a lot of people believe this may be true. What am I talking about? The Haitian immigrants in Ohio, people saying that they were not using proper neighbor etiquette, because they were eating people's cats. So some people claimed. Now, again, the proof or the fact check on this one is what they're saying is that there's no proof to substantiate these claims. Now, Trump mentioned this in the debate, which is why it's on the national stage. And the thing is here, the big elephant in the room is that Trump was simply repeating a testimony from people that were interviewed in the area. Okay? He's just the messenger. He's just the messenger. So, if nobody decides, none of the authorities or law enforcement decide to truly investigate the claim and follow up with a real investigation, then they can't say that there's no evidence to support the claim because they haven't looked for any evidence yet, have they? The headline should really read either we did a full investigation and found nothing, or we are currently investigating the claims. You can't just automatically dismiss someone's claims until you've looked into the claims. And apparently, there were many people who said their cats went missing. Now, this is a thing. But did they mention this in the article? That this is a thing? That there are certain cultures that eat cats and dogs? No. That would have given this article a fair balance, right? Fair balance would have been, you know what? There are cultures in America who consume cats and dogs. We're still looking into this and investigating it to see if there's any video evidence, right? Because everyone has Blink cameras now. So once someone's Blink camera, if they would have bothered to look, would have picked up somebody running off with someone's cat. Correct? I mean, you guys, we're not even that smart. And we have more common sense than officials and police departments and even presidents who can't even come up with solutions to this stuff. Instead, we get fed a line of you know what. And then we watch our cats go missing. Now, many of you, if you're interested in looking back in a couple shows ago, gave your own personal testimonies and confirmed the testimony that I shared about my cat, Blackie, who went missing when I was 9 years old, back in the early 1980s. And got on our bike and rode over to the cul-de-sac next door, and I saw little Blackie, and I won't go into graphic detail because it was already too much for some of you to hear that testimony of what happened to Blackie. Saw it with my own eyes. I'll never forget that image that I saw, of the people standing around Blackie and the blood inside of the garage on the floor being rinsed out with a water hose. I'll never forget that image. And it took me a long time to forgive that group of people. I always saw them as like different and weird until I grew up and I realized that that's just some people's culture. The problem isn't probably what they're doing, because they might look at us and say, oh, you guys eat pigs or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I mean, I'm sure that culture also eats pigs as well. But, you know, some of our cultural things that we do are shocking to people as well. The problem is not them. The problem is mixing the cultures together and forcing it. And then we are the ones who suffer. We're the ones who have to deal with this when our pets go missing. Okay, that's the problem. It's our governments forcing these things on us, and they have no idea. They don't have to live with these people. Right? Am I right or wrong? Can I get an amen on that? So, common sense, right? We know that these cultures, some cultures eat cats. I don't know about the Haitians, but I do know other cultures do this. This is a fact. So, for them just to reject real people's testimonies out of hand, that's another snub against American citizens who are down here in the trenches. We're the ones that have to live in neighborhoods around other people, and we expect more from our public officials, don't we? So, they do a story on this. There's no evidence to support that these people ate any cats or dogs. Wow. And then they basically, of course, frame Trump as an insensitive and conspiracy theorist-minded, paranoid candidate. But guess what? This is what he wants to be depicted as, because then we all fall under that banner. This is all by design. He could have picked any other topic to bring up at the debate. Instead, he chooses to focus on this to get votes, because he hopes that you're outraged by this and you get even angrier at immigrants. Again, not to say this isn't happening, because it probably did happen. But think of the psyop behind this. Wow. Now, I told you guys that these people were all friends at the top. I told you this. And within hours after one of the most divisive debates that we've seen in recent history, these two start complimenting each other and shaking hands. Let's see if we can play this video. Now remember, we are at a crossroads here. The border, fear. What are we going to do? We're surrounded. You guys, this is the number one issue that I hear even amongst you. Some of you are taking the bait. Don't take the bait. Especially out here in the South. They're like, we're surrounded by immigrants. I'm like, where are they? They're out there. They're here. Even though it's still 99% white out here, there's this fear because of what the right is showing you. Now, I understand the fear, and it is something that we should be concerned about. But don't dip down into that lower level where you start to fall back into the right-left paradigm, because then you will accept Trump's solution, which is biometric identity. You'll justify it in your mind. You'll be like, you know what? This is the only way we can get rid of them. We got to go biometric here. We have to. It's the only way. And this will be another precursor to the mark in order to buy and sell. Your face print. Your face print. And here they are. One of the most divisive debates in recent history. Here they are shaking hands and complimenting each other, not giving each other dirty looks, not giving each other the middle finger. Let's see if we could play this. I'm going to have to refresh this page. Okay, let's see here. Unbelievable. Now, let's refresh this. See if we can get this to play. Trump and Kamala sitting in a tree. KISSING. Right? It's Kamanald. Wow. Now, people might say, oh, they're just taking the higher road. You know, they're trying to be presidential. When have they been presidential to this point? Okay, hold on. I think we got this to play here. Let's turn off the HD so we can get a good image of this. This is just shocking. Kamanald. Chumming it up here. Harris Trump. Former president claims he won the last two debates. Let's turn the sound off because there's no sound. Doesn't need to do a third. Okay. During a rally, he explained decision 2 days after the first debate. Let's see if they show him chumming. We don't need to watch all this. Kamanald. Hope you guys enjoyed the thumbnail, because it really helps put things in perspective. Oh, they're not going to show it here. Oh, boy. So this is what's going on. I hope you guys wake up to this. Chumming it up. Oh, they switched out our story there. So we're not able to see him, but at least you guys saw it there. Now, I'm tired of politicians dividing all of us along party lines. It has to end. They're not even trying to hide anymore how they're exactly the same. Now, we're supposed to believe that Kamala has adopted all of Trump's policies, or most of them, and she has moved to the middle? We're supposed to believe that now? Well, what better way to get people to get on board with her and be like, okay, I guess Trump lost, but you know, no big deal. We'll still keep pushing forward with the climate. We'll keep pushing forward with, securing the border with biometric identification. They're all the same. Now, mark my words. One day after all this is over, I give it like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years. you will see Trump right along with Clinton, Obama, and Bush. They'll all be sitting together, taking a photo together, just like Clinton and Obama and Bush did already. They all took a photo together after we're told they hate each other to the grave. And there they all are, right? And it'll probably be at Jimmy Carter's funeral because he's about to go out. I don't know, he could live to be 102 or something. And they'll all be there. And then people will put it together, but by then it'll be too late. Kamanald Harris. Now let's get into seasons 3 and 4 of Continuum. Wow. What you're going to see next is Ozempic Injection programming. So what, Casey? They're just showing Ozempic in a TV show. Well, 3 years before it was ever invented? How did they know? How did they know an entire decade ago, 3 years before Ozempic ever came to market, that everybody would be on Ozempic? Watch this. You have to see it to believe it.
Corporate control over every aspect of every person's life. Sadler has a pretty little bracelet that everyone wants.
Well, I would never wear that thing. It came with more warnings than a weight loss prescription, and people still wanted it.
Halo's
The internet attacks, bioweapons, people in power using the rich.
Came with more warnings than a weight loss drug while she's injecting herself with a needle. Now you know why we have to decode these TV episodes, because it exposes these people. Now, how does this work? Well, in your subliminal mind, if you watched this TV series and you saw this woman injecting herself. Now, let me give you the context of this scene. Let's break this down one step further. The reason why she's injecting herself is not for drugs in this scene. She's injecting herself for other reasons. So they're normalizing injection. They pair it with the thought of a weight loss drug so that you accept that as normal, that's normal to inject yourself to lose weight, right? 3 years before it ever came to market. And you can fact check me on this. All you got to do is look up when the episode released, 2014. Ozempic didn't hit the market till 2017. Let me play it back again.
It came with more warnings than a weight loss prescription, and people still wanted it.
Halo's
The internet attacks, bioweapons, people in power using the rich versus poor divide to push their own agendas.
And there you heard the right-left paradigm. Right-left paradigm. Pushing their own agendas by dividing all of us. Next, you're going to hear pre-crime.
You call that warfare? It's collecting information that you want to use to track down criminals before they commit crimes.
I need help.
And the Halo Smart Bracelet, you think that's perfectly safe?
Wow. Now, what else is going on? Well, next, I want you to listen to what this character says. He says, Trump. Watch, and then watch what I found on this.
Get it down now.
Where our most personal information is controlled by corporations. Halo is a lie. A shackle designed to enslave anyone who wears it.
Take it off.
But the same technology will rob us all of our freedom. Halo will usher in a future where freedom is promised via technology. They'll be able to control our territory.
Is history going to trump our arrangement?
I have no intention of biting the hand if that's what you're asking.
Is history going to trump our arrangement?
I have no intention of biting the hand if that's what you're asking.
Now, who is the character that asked if it was going to trump their arrangement? Are you ready for this? Stephen Lobo. When was he born? on the Kennedy assassination date, as he mentions Trump. To me, this was clearly put into the script. We already talked about the metaphors between Trump's near assassination, the graze on the ear, the right side of the face, Kennedy being shot on the right side of his face, his head, his skull. We talked about all of that, didn't we? Well, there's another little confirmation. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the future. All we can do is look at the predictive programming and see how they're seeding these things into our reality. But the fact that that guy's birthday, isn't it the exact 10-year anniversary? When was Kennedy shot? In 63? That guy was born in 73? So November 22nd is definitely a date to watch surrounding Trump. And so we will see. Now, do I believe that he's really going to be assassinated if that happens? No, it'll be some psyop. They'll send him off to the island where they all go and do whatever they want. It's the do what thou wilt island. I know they have one because there's no way all these people just die and that they predict their death and then it actually, in this predictive programming, and then it actually happens. There's no way. They just go somewhere. There's somewhere they go. It might even be past Antarctica. Maybe there's a place that they all go. They do their work for the Dark One, and then they're rewarded by going to the island, is what I believe. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And before we get into these last clips. All right, I'm in the chat for a minute. All right. Just crazy. Crazy. Dumala. Oh, I like that one. Dumala Harris. All right. Look at how perfectly they're divided in that debate. Perfectly diametrically opposed. There was no crossover. There was no attempt to cross over. It was all about a contest. And if you see a contest happening, that means that you as the observer always lose. You as the observer lose. All right, let's keep going here. All right, got a couple more clips here for you guys. Stephen Lobo, born on the Kennedy assassination birthday, and then he mentions Trump. This was 2014, before Trump even talked about running for office. Now, next, they're going to explain the exact theory that we realized years ago. What theory is that? The demons are hopping through time and fusing their consciousness into new bodies. They're sharing consciousness into the new body. Watch and listen.
My consciousness was pulled from one reality, brought here, fused. The energy of one reanimating the other. Different branches, different version of ourselves.
People aren't car batteries. You can't just jumpstart them.
You mock what you don't understand.
Wow. Just wow, right? Fusing consciousness, people as car batteries. The energy of one transferred into the other. We already figured this out, didn't we? And then they're repeating this in a series that I'd never seen before. Wow. Now, as we approach the end of all of the seasons of Continuum, it becomes apparent that our original theories about this being all about the fallen angels hopping down through time, it's confirmed. Confirmed in this next scene that I'm going to show you, where with spiritual eyes, you can actually see the tree of the knowledge of good and evil behind the main character, Alex Sadler, the two seeds at enmity with one another, which is what God said would happen all throughout time. Let's watch this next part.
I speak to you not as who you'll become,
but as an old man who knows you best.
The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. On the right, you see the serpent wrapping around this tree trunk. On the left, you see the natural good versus evil. You also see these DNA-like staircases, the two seeds becoming one, even though they're at enmity with each other. The enemy has combined the two seeds. How and what? It's obvious that it's the consciousness tying in together with each other. The two in the one body. The two become one. There can be only one. This is his office. They even have different chairs. The chairs don't even match. Why wouldn't the chairs match? They don't match because this is all about the combining of two different things together. Sad tech, it's called. Now, what else is going on here? Well, all of this fits into the next scene, which is about a portal that is built to bring the fallen ones into our reality. Watch this.
Here we go.
We're building a portal, a lifeboat to rescue our people. They escape our time, they come here.
Now, it's a tethered wormhole. It's like an elevator, but instead of going up and down, it moves through time. But the energy patterns here, they're not explosive. They're implosive. The device is literally punching a hole in the space-time continuum.
So that brings us to 2 episodes shy of the last of all of this, for those of you that are sick of Continuum. But there was a lot of disclosure in this series, confirmations of concepts that we had to figure out on our own through looking at the predictive programming that were repeated dozens of times in other TV series unrelated to even science fiction. Some of the stuff we found in a thriller, some of the stuff we found in a romance comedy, some of the stuff we found in other TV series. But it's all a common theme because it's what the enemy is doing. It's what the enemy's doing. So we got 2 more episodes to go for the end of all this. And I'll screen those today, this afternoon, and I'll have a show up for you guys on Sunday. If there's anything to report, it could just be a dud. Unfortunately, with some of these series, they do all the disclosure in the first couple seasons, and then like the last 3 or 4 seasons is just a dud, right? Usually the writers, right? Because it's almost like they hand these things off to the people that are not in the know. So they do all the disclosure up front. So that's probably like literally the devil writing that script for the first couple seasons. And then once the disclosure's done and they're done and they move on to other projects, then they just hand it off to a much less experienced writing team is the way I think this all works. So usually the last couple seasons are like a dud. And once you get into screening some of this stuff to expose the enemy and find the symbolism, you'll also see the same patterns because I've been doing this for 12 years and this is what I've found. But anyway, tomorrow, for those of you that are interested, we will be on the backup channel and it'll be the Honey Milk Ranch out here in the Ozarks. I'm uploading some pictures of several big bucks that came in literally a few hours after the season closed for Velvet Buck season, which was only 3 days, and just came out and were just like mocking me on the camera, looking right at the camera. So there's some really majestic and cool shots that I'll show you on the backup channel tomorrow in the morning. It's going to be a premiere, so I'll probably be in the chat with you guys. And also a close encounter that I had with a coyote who came within 10 yards of me. So I got pictures of that as well and some updates on the Honey Milk Ranch. Now I'm back in the chat for a little bit before we pop off of here and let you guys enjoy your weekend. How's everybody doing today? Wow, welcome to Clown World, right? Kamanald. Damala Harris. You guys got any other good ones? Do not feed your cats meow mix. Do not. That stuff is poison. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'll be glad when the Bloodsucker show is over too. I'm right there with you. Okay. Yeah, how is Jimmy Carter still alive? What is he, 99 right now? 99 red balloons? Yeah, a lot of you are already having to sign in to work with biometric scanners. How did that happen? Well, it all happened during the pandemic. When everybody was at home, you came back to work and there were face scans to get into work. Unbelievable. They're normalizing it now. It's in some airports now, and you can opt out of it for now at the airports, but pretty soon you won't be able to. They're just slowly getting everything in place so that they can eventually make it mandatory. This is why you don't give these people an inch. They take a mile when you give them an inch. So, yeah, I thought he died too. But apparently Jimmy Carter's still alive. I think Jimmy Carter was president when I was born or something. I was born in 73. I was like, how is this guy still alive? But here he is. So, yeah, you guys all have a great weekend. Thanks, Geraldine. And I will see you guys on Sunday. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow on the backup channel. Love each and every one of you. Much love. Take care.